Hey, thanks for checking out my channel and clicking on my face. My name is John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, and this is a review of Beauty and the Beast, the 30th anniversary concert event. I don't know what it's called, but the 30th anniversary, maybe it just stops at that. Anyway, this aired on ABC and is now on Disney Plus. So if you have a Disney Plus subscription, you can relive this forever and ever and ever and ever. I'm a blind film critic, so I watch things with audio description, and this had audio description. Yep, pretty cool, huh? So uh, one point House of Disney. That was a bad Harry Potter joke. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, I don't know what to say about this. So, like, I love Beauty and the Beast. Who doesn't? From you can look at me and if you can see, and you immediately look at my face and you're like, yeah, that tracks. Based on my age, you can see that I'm probably around that age when, I'm not. I'm sure that if I was older, I would have a different subset of Disney movies that I grew up with, and I'd be, super hyped about 101 Dalmatians anniversaries or something. But, yeah, it's obviously, it's where I'm at. Or you can just hear it in my voice. You can just kind of guess. But yeah, I grew up with this. So I grew up with Beauty and the Beast. And it has never left me. So I was a little kid when Beauty and the Beast hit theaters, just like I was a little kid when Little Mermaid hit theaters, and Aladdin and Lion King. So yeah, the new classic wave of Disney films. So this one was, obviously the Little Mermaid, they liked it and they thought that was cool, so they did it, and they put that out there for the world, and the world was like, yeah, we like that. So now we're gonna get like another Disney musical every year. I don't know what's gonna be next year. I'm gonna guess Aladdin, if I have to guess. And I really hope they don't do the Broadway musical, because I really hate the Broadway musical. I hope they stick to like how they did this with the animated cartoon. But I do like the Broadway musical of Beauty and the Beast, and I was hoping that they would do a little bit more of incorporating the Broadway musical songs into this. For Little Mermaid, there were songs, and I don't know if anybody realized this. For Little Mermaid, they put songs in from the Broadway musical, like her voice. Suddenly, Eric had a solo out of nowhere that he doesn't have in the movie. And I think that worked really well, because that's where the stage shows came in, is that they fleshed out certain characters and they gave them more to do. And if it was me, and Disney had come back around to me and been like, hey, we're doing Beauty and the Beast 30th anniversary, what do we do? And I'm like, I know you want to do Nevermore, Evermore, whatever that song is called that was from the movie. But If I Can't Love Her was perfectly fine. And I think introducing people to that, especially when I know that they are casually planning on reviving Beauty and the Beast, in the near future, introducing people to If I Can't Love Her, which is like the exact same song. When they wrote that song for the live movie, for the Emma Watson movie, I didn't really know why they did that. I was like, there's a song in the Broadway musical, you could just use that. Plus Home is such a lovely song, and it would have been so lovely in this, although I wasn't a huge fan of her as Belle. She has a great voice. She doesn't really have a Belle voice. Her voice is very weighty. It's very heavy. Belle is lighter. if you listen to the voice, if you compare the voice, she sounded way more mature than she needed to. They needed to find somebody who just sounded a little bit younger, a little bit lighter, brighter. It's not that her isn't a solid singer, and I'm sure there are Disney roles that her voice would be right for. I just don't think that this was it. I also, I don't know that I need Josh Groban in this. I mean, I know he was the draw, but I found some of their other casting to be what I end up going, oh. I mean, yeah, it was cool because I got to hear Josh Groban sing some stuff, and it's always nice because he can sing, because he can always sing, and he fits into stuff. And this was an obvious casting. I get why they did it, but if they really wanted to go wide, they could have picked somebody maybe a little bit less, obvious. But yeah, it kind of feels like Josh Groban has been working his way towards this performance for a while now. I loved Josh Henry as Gaston. I love that Joshua Henry is being given an opportunity to sort of perform in front of a bigger audience. He's a great Broadway singer who's done a lot of things. I've had the opportunity to meet him. He's a lovely person. And I was super excited about his performance as Gaston and to see what he could do with it. And I thought he did a great job with Gaston, with the little bit that he's allowed to do, because half the time you're watching the animated movie, and then for a little bit of time, it's the person they've asked to come in and do it is doing it live. So it's kind of this weird both thing. So for what he was able to do, I thought he did a good job at it. And I also really loved Martin Short as Lumiere. I mean, of course. I feel like that's the one thing we can all get behind, is that casting needed to happen at some point in life. It just feels like the kind of casting that's like, oh yeah, why hasn't this happened? Why hasn't Martin Short played Lumiere yet? Why? It kind of makes me go back and go, why did we put Ewan McGregor in this role? Why didn't somebody go, hey, you know who'd be a great Lumiere? Martin Short. Like, I mean, how did we get to Ewan McGregor and not Martin Short? It just, that's the casting to me that just felt like just brilliance. Like, duh. Of course. Martin Short is Lumiere, duh. Why? Perfect. Yeah, so he was great as Lumiere. And that cheered me up a lot. Shania Twain has a lovely voice. And again, they need people to watch this thing, so they need to put big names in big roles. She's not Mrs. Potts. I'm sorry. She's just, I didn't, and her version of Beauty and the Beast didn't do much for me. So I have mixed feelings about it, but that's because I've heard so many different versions of this. I grew up with the cartoon, so I'm familiar with that version. I've heard the Broadway musical, the original Broadway cast. I'm familiar with that version. I've heard the Emma Watson film, so we've got that group mixed in there, and now we have this like fourth group of Beauty and the Beast cast members. So it's like pick and choose your favorite cast member from whichever one of those versions. Like, which one do you like the best? And I feel like I would pick a different person from each performance. But oddly enough, I don't think they've ever topped the original Belle. I think that's the one thing they have not been able to do, is capture somebody. I think the girl who did it when they debuted on Broadway did a really nice job. And probably the closest thing to capturing the original Belle. But Emma Watson was auto-tuned, which is really hard to get behind. And I just thought her just sounded too mature. It's very odd to say that. Just sounded older. Her voice is just weightier and a little bit lower than, yeah. in the timbre of her voice. I think I'm in the weeds here. I don't know if anybody even knows what I'm talking about anymore. But I don't know what else to talk about with this thing, because it's basically just occasionally somebody comes out in front of the animated movie and sings, and then they go away. And there was a dance sequence with the Rose that we got to see. There were some dancers that came out as wolves, but for the most part, this was just kind of rewatching the animated cartoon. Sort of like those live cast performances of things like Rocky Horror, where you have a shadow cast in front of the screen. It kind of felt a little bit like that to me, except they had to interject Evermore into the film, which is not in the cartoon, so we had to stop everything so that Josh Groban could sing Evermore, which they weren't willing to do with a song from the stage musical, which disappointed me. So we got Evermore, but we didn't get home. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I wasn't completely blown away. I didn't hate it. There are things I liked about it, but I fear for what they'll do next. I think it's going to be Aladdin, because I think Aladdin is the next one to have an anniversary. So it feels right. It's had a movie version. It has a stage version. There's an animated cartoon. I feel like next year's going to be Aladdin. So, yeah. I'm going to give Beauty and the Beast 30th anniversary a C+. The audio description's fine. It's weird. They do a lot of weird things here it's just creatively weird to describe. They have the movie, and then they have people coming out in front, and I liked that they explained those transitions when they could, about how we were leaving the movie and then coming out in front. We were transitioning to a live performer. There wasn't really a whole lot of description of the actual cartoon. It was just kind of like you were expected to sort of know Beauty and the Beast. This wasn't like an introduction to Beauty and the Beast. It was more of trying to explain the differences and the uniqueness of the 30th anniversary was what the audio description felt primarily focused on. The cutaways, the cast recording session that they included a little bit of, those kind of things, it felt like were prioritized in this, which is fine. Probably the people who are watching this are people who are already fans of Beauty and the Beast. I don't think this is the first time they're going to watch. It's a weird way to watch this for the first time. To watch people watch the cartoon and watch people step out of the cartoon. I don't know. It's just bizarre. So yeah, I think this is made for fans anyway. So maybe that was a safe bet. It's a weird thing to describe. I think they did the best that they could, and they focused primarily on the thing that made the most sense, which was what makes this different than previous incarnations. And I thought they did a really strong job of describing that. So anyway, I'm still trying to get to 100 this year, so if you could subscribe, that'd be great. I'm close, but I'm not there yet. That's my year-end goal, and I'm just a few people away. It would suck if I fell this short. I'm so close. I also have a website, macmoviegui.com. You can follow me on Twitter at macmoviegui. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description, where you can watch it. And you can go to theadna.org. That's the adna.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite TV shows and movies. That's it for me today. I will watch something else and review it for you, but until then, I will see you on the other side.